Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Movie Podcast, your greatest source for superhero movie discussion in the multiverse. My name is Adam Portrais, and I'm joined, as always, by Sean Keenan.
Heidi and I watched this Krispy Kreme commercial today.
Oh, and we're going to find out if that Krispy Kreme commercial is good, and of course, Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear, and this movie taught me how to milk a bull.
Yeah, you know, we learned a lot in a lot of different.
They even give you the camera close up in case there was any question about what happened there.
They're like, by the by, no for real those, not even playing. That's a bull. There's no misunderstanding here. You're clearly aware of what's going on. And if you're not aware of what's going on, i.e. you can't read your podcatcher or whatever and know what the heck's going on, today we are reviewing Power Rangers, the new, I thought it was going to be a giant hit movie. It made what's pretty decent money for this time of year, but man, Beauty and the Beast is just knocking it right in the face. It doesn't even care, son.
That's what you get when you go up against Disney.
Oh, man. 80 million versus 40 million. It's like, but people were out in droves no matter what, man. So you were queuing up at the movie theater this week, boy, and we queued up for you HMPers. So we want to, we're like, hey, this has some sort of tangential comic book connections. We'll talk about those, of course. But what we want to do ahead of time, though, is we want to talk about the good people that have the decency in their heart and souls to drop down to a little place that we like to call iTunes and give us a 5-star review, a.k.a. a humdinger.
Humdinger?
And we have one such today. It is entitled, The Humdingiest of Humdingers.
Like it.
Not too shabby. It is by, get this, 69346 D-Rock 69346.
Awesome name.
Who I shall just call D-Rock from this point out because Adam,
I used to have a cat named that.
Was your cat like a DJ?
Yep.
DJ
the numbers and all,
everybody.
I mean.
With the numbers and everything. The fore and aft numbers. Very good.
Took me a long time to call her in from the outside.
Man, your cat has been waiting 3 years to write all of this review. Took forever, but by God, with them pause and autocorrect, man, eventually you'll get it. D-Rock writes in as follows. I stumbled upon this podcast 2 years ago. See, I told you it was taking a while to type the whole thing. I stumbled upon this podcast 2 years ago and have been hooked on it since. It is my go-to podcast to listen to while I'm at work. If you're looking for information about superhero movies and their comic book connections, then give this glorious show a listen. The three hosts bring a level of humor, fun, and shenanigans that will leave you hungry for more of their voices. Kudos to these three for enduring some pretty horrible shows like the 1970s Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. I couldn't sit through 5 minutes of either of those, but I can listen to their reviews over and over because of how entertaining and fun they are. Much respect and thanks to the three and their dedication to this show. That is from 69346 D-Rock 69346. Thank you so much. And gentlemen, while that's the 91th review on iTunes, that is our 90th 5-star review on iTunes. So yay to us.
Hey, we're almost at 100.
Not too bad. So you know what that means, kids. We got 10 more reviews till we get to 100 5-star reviews. I know there's way more than 100 people that listen to this show. If you have not, jump on down that iTunes. It takes 2 seconds. Go 5 stars, write humdinga, humdinga, humdinga. That's all you got to do, and we're finished. They're there. You know, it's super simple. I don't know how it could be much easier. And once you do it, break into your mom's iTunes account. Do the same thing. I don't give a crap. Downloads is downloads. You know what I did on my dad's phone? I took his iPhone and just kind of like, I'm like, a podcast app. Heck yeah. Download this show. Yes, you did. Boom. Look at that. If you could steal someone else's phone and download our show, if everyone could do that at least 5 times, we'd have one of the biggest shows out there. So I'm just giving you some homework assignments to get on it, people.
And our next review is going to come from like Knitting Fanatic 69.
At first, I didn't know where the heck this thing came from, but after a couple of episodes, those guys are good. They're very, very good. I like them.
Why does that one guy hate the Power Rangers so much? That
guy hates Power Rangers like I don't know, but I thought it was fine. Back to knitting, and I'm pretty sure that's how knitting works. I don't know.
Back to knitting. I like how you signed that one off.
I like that this is a person who has to announce everything that they're doing. Well, it's time to open up my phone. Bloop, there it is. Reading the email.
Do you have a sign off for Nerd Talk Now?
I don't have an official one. No.
Well, there you go. Back to knitting.
Back to knitting.
I think it's perfect.
You are welcome.
Oh my God, I'm gonna do that tonight. There's a 110% chance of that happening. Oh, give me a moment. That's funny. God almighty. Whew. All right. Speaking of opening up and going to the email, we got one of them there emails, kids. And if you would like to email us, email us at Hero Movie. What's it called? Podcast. You got me laughing. My brain.
It's the Hero Movie Podcast still, as long as I know.
Yeah,
have you done something else with it?
The oxygen just
gmail.com.
the oxygen has not gone back to the brain fully yet. Hero Movie Podcast at gmail.com. And this one is from a longtime listener. It's entitled Heidi Likes HMP. Hi guys, hope you're doing well. Dick Van Dyke Englishman Marty here.
Nice.
Just as, hey, it's like every English person is now just tuning out, going, "What a bunch of."
This is the worst.
No good.
But it's the Dick Van Dyke Englishman, everyone.
Yes, not any proper ones.
It's not supposed to be good.
Yeah, it's all bad on purpose. Just a shout out to say great episodes lately. I've been saving up and binge listening. A couple things I wanted to ask. Number one, where's Mail's Here jingle gone to? I've been missing the crooning soft voice of Mr. Sneakers Keenan. Well, look, I'm bound to do it. Let's go ahead and do it. Just even though we started this one, we're gonna open up that there mailbag.
Mail's here.
All right, continuing on. Number two, will you be reviewing Outcast once season 2 is out? I've heard the show is only the most handsome people work on. And also, loving Nerd Talk now. I have to download a podcast as there's no way I can stay up till 3 a.m. on a school night. And Miss Merrick has downloaded me a copy of Dragon in the Needles from her Amazon account, so look forward to reading it.
Awesome.
Very good. I hope there's a mention of a plucky young English hobbit type guy in there.
Oh, there is. There is a character named Marty, after our good friend Marty Merrick. And if people are familiar with Campbellian archetypes, sometimes you have to have a character that's known as the Fool, and I'll leave it at that.
There you have it. See you soon. And by the way, loving Legion 2. I think we'll probably end up doing that Legion season ender not too awful long here, once all our other things have gone by the wayside.
It soon. Like 2 episodes left or something.
So very, very, very close there. So thank you very much for that, Marty. We're going to wrap it up and close up the HMP mailbag.
Mail's here.
And, of course, if you'd like to send us an email, it's heremoviepodcast@gmail.com. Well, thank you guys so much for that. And with that, let's go ahead and take a listen to a trailer for our new release review of the week. Here's a trailer for Power Rangers.
None of us really know each other.
We're all screw-ups.
But somehow, we were all in the same place at the same time when Billy found those coins. Guys, check out how we glow.
I'm blue.
Oh, I'm black.
What?
I am.
No, you're not.
Oh.
Do you feel weird?
We're strong.
Insanely strong.
The answer to what is happening to you is here. You 5 are the Power Rangers.
Did I just hear you say we're Power Rangers?
Is this some kind of joke? We're talking to a wall.
I was kind of expecting a little more.
So where were you last night?
Me and 4 kids found a spaceship buried underground. I'm pretty sure I'm a superhero.
Cool. Pee in that cup.
Power Rangers were a legion of warriors. You must become those warriors.
It's just a hologram, like a video game.
That's a strong-ass hologram.
Not a video game.
You were born for this.
I will destroy everything.
She is pure evil.
How do you expect us to stop her?
It's morphin' time.
Do it better than anybody you ever seen. Do it. No one man should have all that power.
It's a lot of gold.
This is your destiny. This is your time.
All right, that was a trailer for Power Rangers, our new release review of this week. Here's the IMDb plotline. A group of high school kids who are infused with unique superpowers harness their abilities to in order to save the world. This is directed by Dean Israelite, starring Darcy Montgomery, Naomi Scott, R.J. Seiler, Letty Lynn, Becky G, Elizabeth Banks, Bryan Cranston, Bill Hader, and more. Man, oh man. Now, I know some of you out there are thinking right now, how in the wide world of sports does this bad boy connect to comic books? I don't read no Power Rangers comic books. How are they even in comic books? Bruce, what's the comic book connection for the Power Rangers here, man?
Ambassador Magma. Are you familiar with Ambassador Magma, Adam?
Can't say
Is
that I
ringing
am.
any bells?
No.
How about you, Sean? Big fan of Ambassador Magma?
No, I have no idea.
I'm more of a Corporal Magma kind of guy myself, but that's just me.
Well, Ambassador Magma is the protagonist as well as the title of a manga created by Osamu Tezuka in 1966. Osamu Tezuka may also be well known for creating other things like Astro Boy and Kimba the White Lion. But it was Ambassador Magma. It was a story of an alien invader named Goa who had this plot to conquer Earth. And he was opposed by Magma, this armored golden giant with long hair and antennae. And even though I think he was like 50 feet tall, Ambassador Magma, his wife was just like regular human size, but she was a robot, but she looked like a human. And he also had a kid who was regular kid size. And they were created by the wizard Earth, who indeed lives deep beneath the earth. He was sometimes referred to as Methuselah, and he looked like a Japanese Gandalf, which is awesome. Now, they're sent to defend our world against this guy, Goa. Now, Ambassador Magma, despite his robot-like appearance, is not a true robot, but he's actually a living giant forged from gold. Now, Goa summons these kaiju from outer space to attack Earth, and there's this Earth kid that has a whistle he can blow, and then the rocket ship family shows up. Oh, I think I forgot to mention that all those robots turn into rocket ships.
Oh.
Now, this manga certainly lays out some of the elements for Power Rangers. But we still have a way to go. You see, Ambassador Magma became a tokusatsu TV series. Here in the U.S., it was known as Space Giants, and I got up at 6 a.m. every morning to watch reruns of this show when I was a kid. It was also the first tokusatsu to be broadcast in color. It debuted a whole 3 days before Ultraman. And though Ultraman has the larger fandom, I'll argue that Ambassador Magma is the superior show. Now, like I said, it was the first tokusatsu broadcast in color, which is significant because you could hardly enjoy Power Rangers in black and white. They could only have two Rangers, you know? Now, you've likely heard me mispronounce this Japanese word, takusatsu, a couple of times and wonder what it means. It's literally the Japanese word for special effect, and it pertains to a genre of action-oriented Japanese television shows like Ambassador Magma and Ultraman. Now, the Toei Company, which is well known to fans of things like Sailor Moon and the movie Battle Royale, well, they got into the tokusatsu game in 1959 and made shows like Invasion of the Neptune Men and The Green Slime, but their shows seemed to be missing something. So Toei reached out to somebody in the States to help them kick things up a notch. They reached out to Marvel Comics and created that insane Japanese Spider-Man show. You know, the one where Spider-Man piloted a giant robot known as Leopardon, and he would summon that robot to thwart off enlarged versions of the show's monsters. This was 1978. Stan Lee praised the show for its special effects and stunt work. All parties thought this was going so well that Marvel Creative collaborated with Toei for an original show premise. It was called Denshi Sentai Denzemon. Denshi Sentai Denzemon. Now, that really defined something known as the Super Sentai series, where characters in colorful costumes, not entirely unlike Spider-Man's, would climb into robot mecha suits and fight enlarged monsters just like the crazy Japanese Spider-Man. Super Sentai, so what, you may ask? Well, in 1992, a Super Sentai show called Kyoryu Sentai Zoo Ranger was bought by an Egyptian-born Israeli living in Beverly Hills named Chaim Saban. Now, Saban got a few kids on prison work release to reenact the uncostumed part of the show in English, and he released it in the U.S. as Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and it became a phenomenon. So for you, Sean, that is the connecting the dots of the manga that inspired the type of show that led Marvel to work with Toei and also led Marvel, the U.S. comic company, to have a direct hand in the creation of Power Rangers. That is our comic book connection.
That is some good legwork there, my friend.
Let me tell you.
It was a little more work than I thought it would be.
Now, I'm just a little prelude here. I'm going to have I did the King Kong episode on Nerd Talk Now where I had Justin Mullis on, who's like super expert in this kind of stuff. He's going to be on to review the Power Rangers thing with me. I thought I was going to have to wait till that show to get schooled. You have done it, my friend. You've done something that, honestly, I was just like, God bless him, he's going to do a good enough job. You kicked that out of the park. Now, I want to say, I could be wrong, but I believe it's Sentai. I think it's with kind of a high I at the end. I say this because I had I
fully acknowledge that my Japanese pronunciation is no better than my Mandarin Chinese pronunciation.
So what I'm basically saying is get off at white people who are going to email us, and I know you exist. Why? Because my ex-wife was one of those people. Now, she spoke a decent amount of Japanese, but still, don't be writing us emails.
So just
look, if you're going to send an email, just send an email about the way that he pronounced antenna.
Yeah, send emails about that. He should know. He should know
That's
better.
Plural for antenna. Antenna and antennae. There's no antennas. It's antennae when it's.
I thought it was just antennae.
I mean, who really has one antenna unless it's like an old television? Even they have rabbit ears.
Like unicorn ants. You don't know that doesn't exist.
So what's the correct way to say it? Sentai or Sentai?
I think it's Sentai.
Okay, because I know George Takei has an E. So Sentai.
Justin will be the guy who tells us how to pronounce all these tomorrow. Nerd Talk Now, 10 p.m. Eastern.
And I think what's funny is you didn't point out how badly I did Kuroroyu or Zugu Ranger.
Listen. As far as I'm aware, those are correct. The other, that's the one. That's the one I was like, I'm pretty sure that's wrong. The rest of the stuff, I'm like, sure, why better than me?
Yo, Sentai, Zugu Ranger.
I think we've proven on this show I can't even read people's English names well enough to really count for nothing. So I'm not.
David?
Lest I be the person to point fingers.
I bet I always get Michael Serra's name correct.
Fair enough.
I just saw him in Juno. He was very good.
I don't know anything about Juno was good. Boom! Yeah, and I like you, Jason Reitman. What the hell was that movie? All right, so let's move on. Power Rangers. Now, this is something back in the day that I'm somewhat ashamed to admit that I had watched because I was too old to have watched at this point. Let me ask you a question.
Why? Now, see, I thought you would be kind of the sweet spot for this show because, it debuted in, 92, 93? So yeah. I'm thinking you're at some prime Power Rangers watching age at that point.
Well, here's the thing. And it's really odd for the block of TV that was there, right? So you got Animaniacs, still fantastic programming, still holds up to this very day. Batman the Animated Series, fantastic programming, still holds up to this very day. But there's something happened because in the last block comes Power Rangers, and it was something about it to where you once Power Rangers came on, it was just like, oh, so you're watching Power Rangers? What are you for? I don't know why. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Here's the thing that happened with me, and I'm just going to go ahead and say that I don't think Sean watched much first-run Power Rangers, did you?
My stepson was about 5 or 6 when this came out, and he loved it, but I couldn't be in the room when he was watching it because it was just so stupid to me.
Oh, and I just want to say OG cast only for me. I don't want nothing past the OG cast. Once you
don't watch Ninja Steel?
No, once you get past once Green Ranger was in there, and even that's a little bit sketchy for me. But after anything like after Green Ranger, go ahead and just forget that because I jumped ship.
Well, I don't want to spoil things, but Green Ranger was the greatest Power Ranger.
I'm not going to say what
I first saw the show when I was in college. And, I already mentioned, and I wasn't exaggerating. I loved watching Ambassador Magma in the mornings when it was rebranded as the Space Giants and shown on like TBS at 6 a.m. or something ridiculous. I loved that show. So in college, I think I'm probably at my girlfriend's dorm room and flipping through the channels on the TV, and I see this kaiju that's clearly a person in a rubber suit fighting against these guys and or girls in these weird costumes. And the first thought I had was, oh my goodness, man, this is awesome. Somebody has made a parody of those old Space Giants and Ultraman shows. And I was watching it and just laughing and like how clever, how intelligent. They're not even acknowledging, they're not even being self-aware of their joke. They're so good at this parody until, I probably made it 3 episodes in when I finally just had to realize, no, we're supposed to take this seriously.
3 episodes in?
I was really wanting this to be some super intelligent parody that was written just for the one kid who watched Space Giants every morning.
And then Bruce didn't have a girlfriend after that. How did that happen? She just disappeared into thin air.
That was Pink Ranger's fault. That was Pink Ranger's fault because, like every other red-blooded American, I had a crush on Amy Jo Johnson for years. And I'll be honest, up until more recent than it should have been, I thought Jennifer Garner was the Pink Ranger. I'm just going to throw that out there.
And I'll say this: Amy Jo Johnson still looking pretty good.
Hey, man, she's pretty good for a soccer mom or Long Island housewife or whatever she is now. But at the end of the day, I guess it's fair to say I prefer Voltron.
Look, I was a Voltron fan. Don't get me wrong. And this is like, it's a version of that, no doubt.
Yeah.
But so I liked it well. I liked it well enough. It's kind of a secret shame. It was more for, to me, or at least how it was amongst my friends. That was more for something my brother's age. He was about 2 years younger than me, so it was more. And he really enjoyed it. He enjoyed it actually more than I did. But I did watch it a decent bit. But it was a secret shame.
And, I have to wonder if maybe Haim Saban, I don't even know if I'm saying his name right, but Haim Saban, if maybe he was like the unknown third brother from Canon Pictures, because it seems like his strategy is to spend absolutely as little money as possible on a show just to get it on the air and make money by the low overhead.
Well, that's the thing, man. And that's what honestly made that show super, super smart was like, hey, we'll get these actors in here. They'll do very little work. All the big heavy lifting's already done for us. All we got to do is just repurpose that crap. Boom, there you go. Big giant hit show, and so little work actually done from us. And then fast forward to today, and you have the Green Ranger going, "Hey man, I want to go and get in an MMA ring," and you're like, "Are you on drugs?" Those were other people that were doing your work, my friend.
He won 4 fights.
Hey, listen, when you're down at the lower dregs when people are doing God only knows what to their bodies, I'm sure that you can punch enough people in the face at some point and make them drop.
I can't wait to see Adam start his MMA career.
You better watch out. You watch. He's gonna be at Dragon Con and be like, "What'd you say about me sucking?" I'm like, no, hello, sir. Nice to meet you. Can I pet your ponytail?
His career did go better than CM Punk's. I'll just leave it at that.
Ooh, snap.
I'm calling you out, punkies.
All the punkies out there.
All you straight edge listeners.
Good grief. So yeah, I was kind of looking forward to this thing, and it looked good. I was like the second. So where this kind of came from, really, I think, to what put this movie into fifth gear, if you will, was there was a short that was done a couple of years back that was kind of like an R-rated Power Rangers sort of thing. It's probably about 10, 15 minutes long. Was it like Katie
Sackhoff or somebody in that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was done pretty well. We actually, me and Justin actually reviewed that short on the Film Find way back when. So if you search for Power Rangers on Film Find, you'll definitely find it. But we reviewed that, and it was pretty good. It was done very high budget. I think the short itself,
it's like $1 million budget.
Was like $1 million. Yeah, exactly. They spent a lot of money on it, so everybody was like, "Holy crap!" It got like a ton of views and stuff like that. And I think the Power Rangers people, the people that own the property outright proper, were like, they're not playing. This is what they really want, because this is not our first Power Rangers movie here in the U.S. They've had one earlier, but it was pretty much like the show for the most part. It wasn't of this level. What was there, 2? I knew there's at least 1. I try to like anytime you see that, it's just like, oh, why would you do that? But they've gone and they've done it, and so but I think that short really kind of got people up, and then they were like, okay, well now we have Rita Repulsa. That's going to be Elizabeth Banks, and everybody was like, what? you mean this? She's a big time actress. Oh, okay. And then it just grew from there. And then Bryan Cranston. Are you out of your mind?
Bryan Cranston worked on the Power Rangers TV show.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's kind of amazing. And it's every time you hear something about the man, you just love him more.
And because he did work on that first season on that original show, there's a lot of speculation he may be the biological father of Billy Cranston, the character.
I heard that too.
Could be. But yeah, so when this thing came out and it really started and the first trailer was out, I think they did a smart thing and really made this a proper kind of origin story and everything. And it follows a lot of the same sort of tropes of regular comic book movies and of course the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I guess. It's got a little Breakfast Club, but there wasn't nearly as much slapping in the face in Breakfast Club, was there?
Not enough.
I love that. Well, I don't know, the chase scene. Do we want to just mention a little bit how outrageous, like the guy only got house arrest for that? He's got to be at least 17 if he's going into a senior year of high school. And the way he runs from the cops and rolls his truck over and everything, you think that's going to be at least like 3 months in actual jail, right?
My only question is how he rolled the truck at such a slow speed, though.
He's talented.
It wasn't going that fast. And like he was coming up, because I've crashed a couple cars in my day. I don't know how in the world he, like physically, just physics-wise, he could have done that. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. Now, the shot and everything, the whole sequence is pretty cool. It looks nice and is done quite well.
Does it look as good as that Children of Men car scene?
It's not quite that
it's
good.
Not
but
even
then,
remotely close,
but
and I know what you're doing right now.
But let's be honest. It's, there's a different level of filmmaker. Now, the guy who directed this did Project Almanac that came out, I think, 2 years ago, which I actually liked. Not a lot of people liked it, but I thought it was a pretty decent film for what it was.
Is that like a religious movie or something?
No, it's a
found footage, like time travel found footage, isn't it?
Yeah, it's decent. I liked it well enough for what it is. I mean, it's one of those things. And I think that's where they got this guy from to do this, was like, oh, look at how much this guy can do with kind of a small budget. And so if we give him a decent budget, it's going to look gigantically big, which this does.
Yeah, it definitely, the budget looks bigger than what it probably was. I have no idea what the budget was, but it looks top-line budget-wise. I don't have any complaints about production value.
105 was the budget for this. For a movie that's of this size, being just a little bit above 100, that's not bad.
How much money did Krispy Kreme give them?
At least half of that, I think.
Actually, it was just donuts. They paid entirely with donuts.
Your breakfast every day is donuts. Shut up. Can we please have some fruit? Donut. Eat it. You got an eclair. Just put it in your face. But, and that's the joke that's online, is just go see the Krispy Kreme movie. I'm sorry, Power Rangers movie this weekend.
And I guess, it should have been Tim Hortons. Wasn't this filmed in British Columbia?
It was indeed.
Yeah, it should have been Tim Hortons there for the product placement.
We're going to Tim's. We're going to Timmy's.
I want a little Tim. Yeah, no, it's, no, but there's none of well, actually, I think there are a couple here now because I think an American company bought them, if memory serves, or something like that.
It's the other way around.
Or is it the other way around?
It was sort of one of those, listen to business speak with H&P, but it was one of those inversion deals where like an American company bought Tim Hortons, but on paper it looks like Tim Hortons bought the American company so that they can move their headquarters to another place or something like that. It's weird, but I think it's Burger King.
You say H&P talks business. I'd like to think of it more like Fatties Talk Donuts.
Oh, man.
You know what my favorite donut is? But no, look, this movie, I'll show my hand early. This movie's better than it has any right to be. It's not fantastic, but for what it is, and giving us what is essentially a weekday children's entertainment programming that comes on at about 4 o'clock every day, this ain't bad. It worked for what it was. I like the kids involved. The kid who plays Billy. R.J. Seiler.
C.J. Ryler?
The way
is it R.J. or C.J.?
R.J.
Okay.
He's good, and he was also good in Me, Earl, and Dying Girl. If you haven't seen that, take a look at that.
He is good in that.
Yeah. So it's like he's one of those guys that like he's new on the block, but you look at him and you're like, where do I know that kid from? That's going to be the main one that you probably knew him from.
Yeah.
He also. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was going to say, I think he's done something else.
Yeah,
too.
he was also on Vice Principals as well. He plays the new principal's kid that comes in.
Well, that's pretty good, man. And he's now a Power Ranger.
But this is his story, really.
What about this guy that played the Red Ranger? That played what's his name?
The kid's name?
Jason.
Well, no, I mean not Jason Scott, but the actor's name's like Democre or something. It was a name I couldn't pronounce.
Darcy Montgomery, DACRE.
Dacre Montgomery.
Oh, sure. This is Darcy as far as I'm concerned.
But
he's from Australia. What do you know?
Has he done anything else?
Yeah, he's done a couple things.
He's in Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things was one. He was
season 2, Stranger Things season 2, which I haven't seen yet.
Okay. I other than that, A Few Less Men, Safe Neighborhood, nothing. He's Australian, so what are you going to do? You probably haven't seen him much.
Maybe he could be the next Thor.
Hey, there you go.
Honestly, he looks more Captain America than Thor, but okay.
Man,
there is no way. Please, Marvel, please do not cast a foreign-born person as Captain America.
It will go insane.
Oh man,
I think the country would implode.
Never mind. I'll leave that alone.
It'll implode, man. It would. Oh my gosh, it would be so bad.
But anyway, the eyes and nose on this. What did we say? Cadre McGillicuddy.
Darcy
yes,
Montgomery.
His name's Cadre McGillicuddy. I like that one. We're sticking with that one.
For a minute, I was wondering if he was some relation to Rob Lowe. He just had a little bit of that to him when he was being the idiot at the beginning of the movie, but that kind of lost, and his hair got a little goofier looking as it went on.
That was honestly, that is the biggest contention of this entire movie for me, is his dumb hair.
But
I'm sitting here looking at him, it's like, who is the hair and makeup person that like looked to him every morning and was just like, perfect?
But whoever had the idea of the way he would stand up to that bully in Breakfast Club Saturday School, that was probably the most awesome bully like stand down I've ever seen, where he slaps the guy. The guy's totally confused. Did you just slap me? And he goes, yes, I did. Isn't that weird?
I will be full disclosure here. So I went into the movie thinking I'm going to hate this movie with a blinding passion. And I was right about that. But I really thought that I would hate this movie the most of any movie I've ever hated. And that's not true. The Turtles, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is still number one, the movie I hate the most. This movie starts, the first part of this movie, I was surprised, like pleasantly surprised. It almost found like, what's the name of that found footage movie that we reviewed? Chronicle. It's like Chronicle at the beginning here.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I don't think the kids are very good actors, except for the African American kid, what I noticed watching this movie today is that there was a black kid who's like probably about 11 or 12 years old sitting next to me, and that changed my view of this movie because he thought the things that were supposed to be funny in this movie were hilarious, and he was having a great time. And I cannot besmirch anyone that, oh, my kids really like this movie. Now, to have a joke where a dude is milking a male cow at the beginning of the movie in front of a 12-year-old, that is uncomfortable. And there are a couple of times where I'm like, I don't know if this 12-year-old should be seeing this right now. Things like that.
Yeah, to be fair, it is a PG-13 movie, but you're right. It does kind of like, it's for the audience that it's supposed to be going for. It's you're not wrong.
There are a bunch of kids.
There were a bunch of small children in the theater that I was in.
Yes.
And what do you guys think about the decision, which is new for the movie? It's not related, to the best of my knowledge, to the television series, but the decision to have Billy Cranston be on the spectrum.
I thought it was interesting. I'll put it to you this way. It made for, I believe it was there to really justify everything coming out of his mouth. So, i.e., though Adam does this, so I'm sure that so many people would probably diagnose me right away, but just kind of narrating what he's doing. And just kind of to like lean in for a couple of the different jokes and stuff like that. It makes it more like, the whole thing that you heard there in the trailer where it's just like, hey, look, I'm black, and he's made it apparent I don't get jokes, kind of Drax style, if you will, and he just goes, no, you're not. Well, I am, and like he just doesn't get it. And like I feel like it was a little bit of a crutch there, but at the same time, I get why they did it so they can have kind of almost expository dialogue in order to kind of get across what's going there by having the kid just be a little bit, on the spectrum.
I also think they just wanted to give us some superheroes like we've never had before, too.
There's a lot of that going
want to give us a superhero for folks with Asperger's and autism and on that spectrum to kind of relate to a little bit, which is cool. I don't know that we've ever had that on the big screen. Now, I'm going to disagree with some of the other sort of public relations material because right before the release, the days leading up, it just seems like the internet was plastered with, spoiler, the first gay superhero on the big screen will be in the Power Rangers. And I'm sorry, but Zorro the Gay Blade is a superhero in my book, and it had Power Rangers beat by like 30-something years.
And here's the thing, like, it's such a, like, the, quote-unquote whatever, it's almost a throwaway line to where, like, if you weren't even, half paying attention, you'd miss it. And frankly, it doesn't amount to anything at all. So I don't know that I'd be waving a flag going, look at the awesome thing that we did, because you really didn't do much of anything. If anything, I'll put that out. I'll put that stamp on it.
And isn't this movie supposed to take place in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it certainly feels like it's supposed to feel like you're in Oregon or Washington State.
Yeah.
It's Angel Grove.
Angel Grove, but they don't say exactly what the state is.
Yeah, it's. I'm trying to think. It's a state that has both gold mines and islands.
Yes, and
salmon
beaches.
fishing, and gold mines. That's the rare combination.
And there's mountains.
It's right next to Springfield.
Sounds
It's a coastal town, but it's also out in the middle of nowhere.
It's 15 minutes from everywhere. So,
but my point is that if it's the Pacific Northwest, is the girl who is a lesbian, is she really that worried to tell her folks? It's not like it's the Bible Belt, for God's sake.
She is. Yeah, but she is the new girl, so they've had to go from town to town.
Hiding their shame. Her family may be Catholic. The actress is Hispanic, so I think you can say that maybe the character is Hispanic. Maybe the family has strong Catholic background. And
I just got that she was a bad kid that was just kind of like a snotty little jerk, and that's why they had to move, because she was just a jerk in school. The sexual they didn't land anywhere with me other than the like I said, one throwaway line that honestly meant had zero weight to it whatsoever.
And I know you don't want to wrap everything up in the same character, but I think it would have been a nice touch from the producers to have made Billy the gay character, because the actor who played Billy was essentially forced out of the role on the TV show because he was gay in his personal life. So it would have been a nice, we're sorry, mea culpa kind of thing to do to make the Blue Ranger gay, so that maybe 45-year-old Billy, wherever he is, can feel appreciated.
I feel bad.
Hold on, man, because I don't know any of this. So the actor who played the Yellow Ranger?
The Blue Ranger. The actor who played Billy Cranston on the TV show, the first season, was gone midway through the season. And a big part of the conflict on set is that he was gay in his personal life. And this was, 93, where they still thought someone on a children's show had to be closeted in order to be on a children's show.
Well, it was more than that. He actually got it from people that watched the show. Like the quote from him, and this is it's bad, but I'm going to say it. He just goes, "You can only be called faggot to your face so many times before you're just like, I quit."
What do you do when people say that to you, Adam?
I just go, "Sister, you don't know what you're talking about," and I blow him a big giant kiss.
I just put on my Dick Van Dyke accent and say, "How dare you call me a cigarette?"
And then he pops down a chimney. But I felt bad for the guy, because like when that's like the defining quote for your your run as that character, of just going like, look, man, I just can't take this anymore. People are just being absolute jerks to me. I mean, you got to feel bad for the guy.
Yeah,
and really I think it would have been, I don't know, I just think there would have been something cathartic about making the character Billy gay as a, it's been 20-something years, but I just think it would be nice to show how the attitude maybe has changed.
It would have been something, but I don't know. It would have been better than...
Of course, then they would have been, pointed out, okay, so you're going to have one character be black on the spectrum and gay. Okay, man, you're laying it on too thick with this guy. Spread it around.
I would have liked the football player to be just be on the spectrum or something. He was, he was so perfect. It just kind of, it bugged me.
He crashed a truck. Come on, man. He crashed a truck.
He hurt his knee, man. Ruined his football career. He was going to be a second string quarterback at the local junior college. And now he lost that chance.
His dad was straight out of just like the screenwriting 101. Now make him a real surly, manly jerk who only likes football and don't like no dumbass kids that can't do no football.
That is David Denman. He's good at that role.
David Denman is awesome at that role, man. I've worked with him before. He always plays that role, and he's been in that role for probably 12 years now.
If there's anybody to get for it, but man, oh man, is it just stereotypical writing? I mean, they got the perfect person to do it. Don't get me wrong, but it was just my dumb kid. He had so many opportunities open to him. What a jackass! It's so just cheap.
I got all the shrimp.
No, those were salmon, man. Salmon.
I got all the salmon and a
Halibut.
weird alien girl.
Oh yeah, we found a dead body when we're salmon fishing, but we're just gonna leave them down there with the salmon. Don't you?
Here's the keys. I'm tired.
Doesn't the FDA have rules against dead alien meat in your salmon?
Yes, less than 2 parts per million
of dead alien meat. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anything more than that, you got to report it.
Now, I'm going to speculate here, Sean, and I'm sorry if I'm wrong here. Please forgive me, but I'm going to speculate that you maybe noticed the actress that played Kimberly Hart in this movie, the Pink Ranger.
What do you mean by that?
I thought that maybe she was eye-catching.
She's too young.
She's like, how young is she?
She's 23.
Oh, that is kind of young.
That's not quite Sean Keenan territory from what I've seen in the past, but these are all jokes between friends, people. Don't get it.
I've got a cutoff age, and she does not make that.
Do you
want
to know what I actually found very interesting about her is that inside, like when she has the Pink Ranger helmet on, and something I do like here is that when you have to do the Spider-Man thing where we have to see their bloody faces move, and I get it for this type of movie, she's got a very Natalie Portman look when she's got the helmet on and everything. I thought. All right, fine.
I didn't see that, man. I didn't see that. The facial structure, the skin tone, it's all different.
All right, then I'm wrong, but I'm right. But you're okay. The hell with all of you.
I think the Yellow Ranger is like a singer, right? I mean, she has somewhat of a career in the music industry before making this movie.
Sure. You talk about Becky G?
Yeah, McGee's sister, Becky G.
It does say that she's on soundtracks on IMDb.
She on to YouTube. I guess she was a YouTube gal, I guess, according to this.
Oh. I heard she was signed by Dr. Luke, whoever that is.
Oh, better watch out, girl. No, I'm serious.
I don't know anything about Dr. Luke.
Well, Dr. Luke is the guy who reportedly had some things with Kesha. Yeah.
The Kesha guy? Okay,
so
yeah.
That's why I say watch out for that guy. That's a no good.
Go sign with the guy that looks like Alan Moore instead.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy.
The one from that 99 Problems video. What's his name, Adam? I know you know it. You know who I'm talking about. What's his name?
What? I'm blanking because all I can think of is him just sitting back and writing comic books now.
Is it Rick Rubin? Is that who you're talking about?
It's Rick something.
Rick Rubin. You're right. That's.
Man. I remember the first time I saw that video, I really thought it was cool that Jay-Z and Alan Moore were friends.
That's funny. That is funny. Let's now.
I think we covered all four. We got to cover all five Rangers one at a time. I guess the Black Ranger, the guy was a little too crazy for my taste. I don't know about you guys. He was just a little too psycho when we first meet him.
Again,
and then
it felt like
he
they were
mellows
trying
out
hard.
as it goes on.
It felt like they were trying hard, and it was kind of a like he's a wild and crazy rebel. He takes no guff from anybody, but his mom's got cancer and ain't that jacked up? Well, he's gonna go and take care of her and let you know deep down inside that he's got a heart of gold.
He lives in a trailer.
Once he got that Power Ranger super strength, the first thing he should have done was get that tree off his trailer.
Nah.
I don't have no time to go fighting no putties. I got to take this tree off my trailer.
Why wasn't that in the theme song?
What about those bulked up putties, man? Sean, were you a fan of the putties on the original series?
You know that I've never watched the series once. You know that I haven't watched it. I probably all combined, I've watched maybe a minute and a half of the Power Rangers altogether.
So, Adam, how can we describe to Sean what the original putties were like? They were like
just
guys in long underwear, gray long underwear with a pantyhose pulled over their face or something, right?
So it was essentially like a gray version of Green Man.
Oh, I see.
With a face painted on it that made him so, and they all jumped around, and they all sound like this.
It was like Electric Company quality special effects.
It was god awful, and they took spills like champs. It was great.
But like, if you punched them once, didn't they disappear?
Well, yeah, eventually they did, but they would kind of fly off. They'd fly off and then like hit the ground and then kind of disappear. As memory serves, this is honest to God, this is like 20 years ago that I'm trying to remember.
And man, when they got these rock golem creations here as putties, man, they really upgraded Rita Repulsa's henchmen.
They look tough. They look tough instead of like, very diminutive little Asian men that sort of kind of know some sort of martial arts.
And have pantyhose over their head and they're in long underwear.
It's bad. It's not good. But what I'll say this: the fighting is better choreography here than there is in Iron Fist. There really is.
Wait till we get second half of that show.
That stuff, it looked good. The fights and stuff were good. The camera work was pretty decent. Like as far as action goes,
and you're
it's not
still
bad.
talking about the '93 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TV show, right?
Of course. No, God no. Actually, the fights there weren't awful, but these are better.
It was very kabuki theater style, though. Everything was over-exaggerated.
Oh, very much so.
The thing that was making me nuts about the fight choreography in this movie is that the camera keeps moving and moving and moving.
Again, I think they're just trying to, like I said, for $105 million for this thing is a very small budget for this type of extravaganza. I think they were just trying to hide as much as they can, to be frank.
Sure. So how. It sounds like you guys watched a bit of this show. So was Rita Repulsa? Is that I'm saying that right?
Yeah,
Repulsa.
Repulsa. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rita Repulsa, was she always a ranger first, or is that something?
No.
She was a witch. She was a witch from outer space. She was never a Power Ranger, so that's a new thing. She also looked quite a bit different on the TV show. I kind of liked Rita Repulsa back in the old days, but I also really like Elizabeth Banks too. So I'm not at all disappointed with the change, but it is a significant difference.
Is it weird I'm still attracted to Elizabeth Banks in her condition in this program? Is that odd?
Absolutely not weird at all.
Okay.
You're a red-blooded American male.
Is it weird that I'm still attracted to the Rita Repulsa from 1992 who's dead now, but she was like 50 then, and I thought she looked cute in her
honestly,
garb.
she looked pretty good, and she was great for what she did on that show. And she had kind of a I don't want to say it was understated because it was not understated. It was overstated, if anything. But she had she had a lot to do. She had to overact so big in the show. It was fantastic because she just chewed on scenery and in something that you have to do that looks ridiculous and just to live in it. It's so cool.
And I always thought she looked cute in a weird way as Rita Repulsa. So one time I looked up pictures of her not as Rita Repulsa, and I said, "Put the Repulsa costume back on, lady." But I like.
So
her.
is she part of the American side of it or the Japanese?
No, she's a Japanese actress that got started around World War II. I mean, she is not a young lady at all.
Wow.
Well, I mean, she's passed away now, but yeah, she started as taking singing lessons during World War II.
To be fair, since she died, she did not get older. So there's that.
No, but Sean, you might be surprised to hear this, but she also had a brother named Rito Repulsa, and I'm not making that up.
So that was my next question: is do they always fight her?
She's kind of like the main villain. So here's what.
So she's like the Joker.
Yeah.
No, man.
No, she's.
You got to go all the way to the Power Rangers Mystic Force, where she becomes the Zordon. She does a face turn and becomes the ultimate good guy of magic.
Listen, I'm not going to talk about this like Earth 2 BS that you're rolling right now. Let's talk about the original, the only one the good
So,
Lord
Bruce,
himself.
how many hours of this show have you watched? Would you say?
I've got two boys,
That's
9
true.
and 6.
Oh, I see.
And they started watching it at about 2 years old, so I've kept up more than your average person.
So, if you didn't have kids, how much of this show would you have seen?
Those 3 episodes I saw in college.
Okay.
But
I was not a fan. I don't know, man. I did like to watch Amy Jo Johnson, but it always kind of creeped me out that when Trini turned into the Yellow Ranger, she kind of had a package in her suit. So, because it was a guy in the Japanese cast as the Yellow Ranger, by the way.
But so in the original,
Hold on, guys. Let me stuff this cucumber down there.
she makes like a real good point to say it just to every episode.
Yeah.
Trini Kwan.
She's like, what's everybody looking at me for? What? Look, is this not normal?
Look, you guys know that I like to keep my produce a little bit hot.
But in the original series, Rita was she was like the dispatcher of villains, if you will. She wanted to take over the Earth.
She was like a witch on the moon or something, like a witch on the moon who would bring monsters to fight the Power Rangers. And then when the Power Rangers were defeating the monster, she'd make the monster grow even bigger. And that meant they had to go all Megazord.
Yeah. So
she's the prince. Basically, she's the prince on Voltron.
Yeah. That's really good. That calls up the Robeasts.
Yeah, it always was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm so mad that this is like, because they revived a lot of lines from the show and stuff. The one that I'm sad that they didn't do was Rita just going, after 10,000 years, I'm finally free. I wish that was there. That would have been dope. But they didn't do that one. But essentially what she would do at the beginning of the show or whatever, she would send down a monster. The monster would cause a bunch of havoc. The Power Rangers would go out, fight that monster for a little bit, and then she would go, make my monster grow, as she did in this one. And that sucker just grew giant, and that's when all the kids go, hey, we got to get together, get your Megazord. That pulls them together. Then you got your 2 dudes in giant costumes fighting on small sets and stuff. Everything goes asunder. Boom, show's over. We start again the next day.
And Goldar was a character in the original show too.
Yes. Now Goldar was cooler in the show because he had he was wearing gold armor and stuff, but he had more of a weird sort of voice that was a little bit like this, and he would go, "Yes, Rita," and it was just
he also looked kind of like a modern interpretation of a flying monkey or something too.
Yeah,
he had a cool
much.
little creepy look to him.
Like a monkey and the from American Werewolf in London, like a combination of that. But in a giant gold suit, and he just talked, and he was a flunky, but he was, it wasn't as cool as this movie.
How far before you think that you guys just completely forgot that you've seen this movie?
I don't know.
I'm pretty good at remembering stuff I've seen.
Well, the reason why I asked that question is that they're clearly going to make a sequel to this, right?
No, they're clearly going to make. They've already lined up 6.
6?
Yes.
I'll be surprised if they make 3.
I think they'll at least have 3. But here's the sweet part, okay?
Well, this is the 3rd one, so I mean, do they mean 3 more, or restarting the clock?
I think this is the beginning of the new clock, the new hour here. But this, I think it's going to go on this basis, and the reason that I say that they could maybe make 6, I don't know if they'll go quite as long as 6, but they can. I would say they go 3 to 4 easy. You can pass off this stuff. That's what they did in the TV show. Is they just kind of like it's kind of the mantle that goes. It's the phantom, if you will. It'll just go down to the next generation of characters, and they can just keep on keeping on.
Right.
And also, this is the kind of thing that's probably going to make good international money, regardless of how it does in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of has that name recognition, some good special effects. You don't really have to have a firm grasp of the original language to enjoy it and that kind of thing.
I wonder if they'll change Krispy Kreme overseas.
Oh, they'll change it to Dunkin' Donuts overseas.
The bigger Dunkin' fans over there, you think?
Yeah.
But no, here's the thing. It's stupid, it's silly, but, like I said, it's better than I think it had any right to be. For something that was a stupid thing that came on at, 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, that was very disposable and kind of a cash grab to like, hey, we're going to, like I said, Saban, really smart. where he's like, I'm going to take this thing from overseas. We're going to repackage it with American stuff. Not only can we sell this here, we can also go ahead and sell all the merchandising and stuff. And the show's still going strong today, man. And it's only gotten bigger and more expansive and stuff. It's in comic books now. I mean, the Power Rangers are with Ninja Turtles and Batman in comics, man. It's all over the place.
Yeah, they've had a much better run than Masters of the Universe had.
Yeah. Masters of the Universe was a one and done, boy.
And before we move on, because I know we're getting about that time, but just a couple more things. One thing that bugged me, and it bugged the people who watched the movie with me, i.e. my family, is it took them way too long to get that armor on.
I understand, but at the same time, for me, I like holding off in origin movies. Give me a chance to really like it. And then once it happens, and it goes down, and it's that nice keeping that budget fairly tight for a movie of this nature, and just saying, hey, we can bring it this far, but you don't have to go all the way with it. And I think that was a good part. And then once you're there, you're super stoked that you're there because you've been teased so long of like, here it comes. No, not quite. Here's a little bit. No, now you got it. And
I gotta say that if they were only going to go with where they get into their what are you calling them? Armor?
Yeah, their armor.
Their suit.
Their Power Rangers armor.
Right. So if that was the only thing that they had to do was get into the armor, like I would agree with you that it took. Actually, you know what? No, let me start over. The fact that it's just if it was just the armor, but it's not just the armor. Then they get into the armor, and then they got to get in their stupid dinosaur robots, and then those stupid dinosaur robots turn into a bigger robot. Like that's so ridiculous and stupid.
That's what's so great about it.
I always felt like it had one more level than it needed to have. Like you can do two things, but when you throw that third one on, that's just a bridge too far.
That's when come on. That's when it turned really cool, and that's when when the ships are coming in and everything, and you hear the new version of the Power Rangers theme and stuff. It's dope. It works.
I do love it, man. I love it when the Zords are running down and they play the Go-Go Power Rangers. It sounds very much like the original theme.
Cool.
That's
I had a big
when I
smile on
finally
my
started
face.
to enjoy the movie. I pumped my fist a couple times, stood up, threw an empty popcorn container, and said, "Come get some" to the guy in the back row. And I was really
That's
enjoying
literally
it.
the exact point where I was like, "This movie has gone off of the rails. This is the dumbest thing I have seen since the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles."
The time Bruce and I get amped, Sean goes, "That's it, I'm out."
But all this time, they're trying to learn how to use their armor. They should have had their armor. They're learning how to fight with their armor on, and then the quest is to learn how to link up with their Zords. That's what I mean by a bridge too far, because they get their armor, their Zords, and their Megazord all in like 15 minutes of screen time, and that's just too much.
It does come rather quick like that. You're not wrong there. I mean, if that's the argument to be had, then you could scooch their regular costumes up earlier, and then kind of have them train with that and then get to the other one. But I see where they're going, but I think you're right. I think it could have, if anything, have them get a little bit more used to that and then have the Zords connected for the Megazord at the end to be the full, kit and caboodle there.
I mean, and the comparison I would make is an awesome movie, a movie that I know we all loved. Imagine if instead of the movie we got in the first Iron Man, we didn't get to see Tony Stark in any kind of Iron Man armor till the final 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
Mm-hmm.
Very good point.
All right. Well, it is what it is. Now, before we get to our final
mid-credit scene.
Mid-credits,
we gotta explain it to Sean.
I forgot. Yes.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a mid-credit scene. I took off at the end.
He looks right at the screen and he's just like, "Peace, sucker," and left. Yeah.
So the mid-credit scene, Sean, and I don't know if this is going to mean anything to you. We've
and
already
that's the great
referenced
part
the guy
is that
a
it
little bit.
won't mean jack squat to him. We're going to tell him, and he's going to be like, "Oh, gee, thank God I didn't stay for that."
But they're calling roll in detention on Saturday school or whatever.
Which
they call
somehow
Tommy
the other
and
kids
Kimberly
are in there
and
now.
Billy, or not Tommy, but Jason, Kimberly, and Billy. Then he goes, and we got a new kid, Tommy Oliver, and we see an empty seat with a green jacket on it, and then that's the end.
And that's the Green Ranger?
Yeah, that's the Green Ranger. And I think they played that well. And there's some theories about the Green Ranger in the movie. But the Green Ranger is considered he's like the Hal Jordan of the Power Rangers. Like the Green Ranger, Tommy Oliver, there are lots of good Green Lanterns out there, but there's only one Hal Jordan. And Tommy Oliver is like that Power Ranger. And it's so cool that he doesn't even show up in the beginning. But, it's clear in this movie he's going to find Rita Repulsa's coin, and that's going to make him the Green Ranger. But it happened a little bit differently in the show because his character was called the Dragon Ranger in the Japanese version rather than the Green Ranger. His costume had some subtle differences, and the story is Rita Repulsa created him to sort of infiltrate and fight against the Power Rangers. Then he joined their cause and became the greatest Power Ranger ever, and the actor went on to be the Green Ranger, the White Ranger, and a Black Ranger in one incarnation. And he's been on more episodes of Power Rangers than any other actor, the guy that played Tommy Oliver.
This is going to sound this is probably the nerdiest thing I'll ever have said on this show, and maybe further on. That was a really good arc in the Power Rangers series.
Yes, it was.
It was good.
And then when he becomes the White Ranger's cool too. But the mystery of Tommy, and he's got this thing where Kim's kind of attracted to him, but then this other girl comes around like Kelly or something. I can't remember all the details, but it's intricate.
I was just like, listen, man, you don't want to deal with that. Just the Pink Ranger, man. It's what it is. Don't be, forget about it. It's ridiculous.
There's only one Amy Jo Johnson, my friend.
That's what I'm saying. Get rid of pal. But
anyway,
look,
the door has been left open. There are people who think that the Green Ranger will be a female. And I think that would be kind of cool because you could make it Tommy, Tommi, short for Thomasina or something. I don't know.
Thomasina.
But I think that would be a cool twist that nobody's expecting if we have a female Green Ranger and then play the whole love triangle off with Jason instead of playing it off with Kimberly, or even play it off with the Yellow Ranger. I can't remember. Trini.
But here's the thing, I do like how they screw her name up a couple of times. Like no, it's Trini. You got it wrong. I thought that was fun. But here's the thing, like the speculation has already gone so far as everyone just I think there's even a petition out now, make it a girl. It's like it's almost to where it gets to the point where everybody's screaming for it, to where I'm just like, don't do that, just because it's what everybody wants. Not that it wouldn't have been cool.
Make it a dog.
Make it
conjoined twins. Let conjoined twins be the first conjoined twin superheroes on the big screen.
Where is Rosie Greer still alive?
Yeah, I love that idea.
So let's see what we can do. Now, before we get to actually rating this thing, we have to find out how this Power Rangers movie relates back to our good friend Sylvester Stallone.
Thank you, Adam. I have a prepared statement.
No.
Donald Adams plays the role homeless man in this turd Ferguson of a movie. I'm guessing that Donald Adams did something terrible a few years ago and performing in this fart-flavored jelly bean as his penance. This ugliest waitress in a terrible restaurant is lucky to have Donald Adams because he's capable of delivering an actual performance, unlike every other person in this Adams love life of a movie that isn't Bryan Cranston or David Denman. And this herpes sore at the orgy because when you have a poorly written script with a stupid premise, you would think they'd at least try to hide their sinful garbage under the pretense of passable performances, but not these guys. They have their own agenda. Maybe Donald Adams killed a guy or is a high-ranking executive at Time Warner Cable, a company so horrible and wretched it changed its name so stupid people wouldn't know who they were dealing with. Well, this Time Warner Cable of a movie attempts to do the same thing by dropping Mighty Morphin from its name because Mighty Morphin is lame and childlike, whereas Power Rangers is awesome and there's totally nothing lame or stupid about it. I get that a lot of our listeners grew up with this franchise, so it holds a special place in their heart, but the whole thing is stupid. Power Rangers is the Saved by the Bell of science fiction fantasy, where even the people who love it know it sucks. And I was already a grown-ass man when this stuff came to America. I grew up loving Voltron, but I know it's stupid. The only thing that can save the universe are robot lions that turn into a giant robot. You know what? That actually sounds super awesome. I take it back. But if there was a live-action Voltron movie, I'd be as ruthless to that suck donkey as I am to this Kardashian at the science fair. Maybe Donald Adams made fun of a handicapped person or told Donald Trump to get into politics. Whatever the reason, he's been a working actor since 1977 when he worked on a movie called Skip Tracer, which sounds an awful lot like someone who works with our favorite name that keeps popping up in movies, Dick Gunfighter. Then in 1982, he played the role of guard CO in a movie called First Blood, starring a guy who had the common decency to never put out a vanity music album, Sylvester Stallone. There were a lot of actors up for the role of John Rambo, everyone from Kirk Douglas to Al Pacino, but the role ended up with Stallone. And it was the first hit he'd had that wasn't a Rocky movie, and it kind of saved his career. I've scrubbed the internet looking for more information about Donald Adams, but there's not much there. He's sort of a mystery man. And if you're listening to this and you know Donald Adams, give us a call at the HMP compound. This soulless, worthless human fingernails as a pizza topping of a movie may suck more than 1,000 chest wounds, but Donald Adams doesn't. And there you have it, HMPers, this week's Stallone connection. The guy who forced me to watch a movie he knew I was going to hate, and other guy who thought it would be funny to force me to watch a movie I thought I was going to hate. Let's review this movie and then hear news about its inevitable sequel. So then I can yell at you both again for forcing me to see that as well.
Of course. And listen, for those of you out there that don't know, Donald Adams, he was on Get Smart, man. Don't everybody know that?
Wrong. That's Don Adams.
You missed it by
that much. Very good. Very
How
good.
How much do you think that guy hated that Don Adams started showing up everywhere?
All right, so let's get down to it. We are on HMP. We have our patented Robin rating system. If you don't know what that is, how about you head on down to Facebook.com/Hero Movie Podcast. Be one of the many people to like the page there. Our Robin rating system is right at the top. We are so close to 2,000 likes, people. Let's make that happen. Bruce, where does Power Rangers fall on the Robin rating system for you, sir?
There's a ceiling. There's a ceiling as to just how good a Power Rangers movie can be. I mean, if everything was perfect, you take any cast imaginable, you take any director, any writer, the best cinematographer in a $300 million budget, there's still a ceiling to how good a Power Rangers movie can be. Now, this movie doesn't quite hit it, but it gets close. It gets close to that ceiling. I feel confident that the sequel will be better, so I'm looking forward to that. But I did have enough fun that I will give this to Damian Wayne for the fun third act and some of the cool stuff in the first act.
Okay. Not too shabby there. Well, like all roller coasters, when things go up, they've got to go back down. Keenan, what do you think?
It's a Jason Todd. This movie sucks, and it's completely forgettable. And the third act is the worst thing I've seen in a movie in a very, very long time. The first act is okay. Like the first act, I was like, hey, they were actually kind of doing okay here. And then the more Power Ranger stuff that starts coming in, like hearing Bryan Cranston have to say, "And you must save the world from Rita Repulsa." It's about the laughest out loud, stupidest thing you've ever heard. So it's a Jason Todd. Screw this movie.
Now to me. Yeah, like I've said it a couple times. I'll say it again. This movie's better than it has any right to be. I'm only going to go just slightly higher than Bruce. This is actually a Tim Drake, but a very low Tim Drake.
Okay.
It's fun. Like I went into this. Maybe my expectations were so low that it had nothing but up value for me, because I figured it was going to stink dog biscuits over here, but it was fun enough for what it was. And honestly, now that all the origin stuff is done, I can't wait to see what they actually do in a sequel, because I think that at least then it'll be the Spider-Man 2 of the Power Rangers world universe. You know what I'm saying? So look, it's not great, but I again, like I said, I had a better time than I expected I was going to. People in the theater really seemed to dig it and stuff. So I mean, if it's your bag, if it's something that you watched back in the day, by God, go to see it, because you'll definitely dig on it, man. And I'll say, I like the special edition of having Zordon actually be kind of a former Power Ranger himself. As far as I'm aware, that wasn't a thing that actually happened. And the movie opening up with Cranston as an alien,
that was a nice touch.
Pretty dope.
I'm with you there. And having Rita Repulsa be a fallen Power Ranger, she's the Anakin Skywalker of the Power Rangers mythos.
I liked it. I thought it was neat, and honestly, it also could lead to her, her eventually becoming, a Power Ranger again. Maybe, who the heck knows? But it was fun enough for what it was, and that, like I said, it wasn't great, but it wasn't as awful as I had expected it to be. I guess I'll put it that way. All right. Well, that is it for this week, everybody. But next week, the new releases keep on a-coming, man. Now, this one's a little bit more controversial than your Power Rangers here. But next week, we're going to be talking about Ghost in the Shell, the very popular anime from back in the early 90s, I guess. And I'd only seen it, way back then, so I don't even really remember it. So I'm going to watch the movie first before I revisit the anime itself, because I know there's going to be some comparisons and whatnot. But it's going to be yet another interesting show, I believe. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, Bruce, where can we find your work on the internet this week, sir?
Heroes and Villains. I got a good episode that I just posted yesterday, if you're listening to this on Monday. It's all about He-Man of Masters of the Universe fame. I was feeling nostalgic today. Did a good episode on He-Man where I do my very own impersonation of Merman's voice.
Oh, yes.
So if you want to hear that, go check out Heroes and Villains. Chubby Wizard, we got lots of good talk about the CW shows. We'll be talking about that musical episode of The Flash that aired not too long ago. And, of course, Dragon and the Needles. Marty Merrick has got a copy. Everybody else should get a copy. People seem to like it. They also really like the audiobook.
Get a copy of it for yourself, everybody. Keenan.
You can reach me at Twitter at Hero Movie Sean. And check out Preacher Podcast, because we're going to be going back to that pretty soon here.
Ooh, it's going to be good, everybody. And, of course, my other podcast, The Film Find, thefilmfind.com. But if you are a Power Rangers fan and you dug this episode and you're listening to this on a Monday, how about on Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, you go over to facebook.com/nerdtalknow and actually join in on our live talk about the Power Rangers movie with special guest Justin Mullis. If you think this show got nerdy, that show going to get super nerdy, because Justin knows way more about this stuff than I think any of us combined. So that's going to be a ridiculously fun show over there. So go ahead and do that as well. And yeah, man. So we're doing pretty well. I like everything, and everything is good with me. So that is it, everybody. Join us. I don't know. Like, I really lost my train of thought there. I was just like, I feel like I should have one more thing, and I round the bases, and I'm like, nope, there's nothing else there. So I'm like, well, let's just walk her on home, shall we? So
that's great. That's great, man.
That was for Bruce, Leslie, Sean, Keenan. My name's Adam Portrais. Stay super, everybody.
Bye, Marty and Evie.